He's there. Sudhakar sir, good evening. Yeah, our team will be doing the PowerPoint for you.
Good evening, everyone.
Recording in progress.
Namaste and a warm welcome to all of you for the 7th session of Crafting a Sustainable Career hosted by SIF UAE. The previous 6 sessions have been well appreciated by everyone, and today we have amongst us a very eminent speaker who will envisage us with a new career prospect in the defense sector. We welcome Mr. Sudhakar Panikar. Speaking about Captain Sudhakar, he is a Shaurya Chakra awardee commissioned in the education branch of the AIF. He retired on 31st December 2019 after serving in the Air Force in various important appointments for 39 years. Being from the education branch, he has been instrumental in molding the civilian youth into worthy and highly motivated air warriors. He was awarded Shaurya Chakra by the Honorable President, Dr. Abdul Kalam, for displaying exemplary courage and gallantry beyond the call of duty in the face of severe adversity.
Recording stopped.
When Air Force Station was devastated and razed to the ground by the deadly tidal waves that destroyed the island during the tsunami of 26 December 2004. He, in spite of being washed away by the
Recording in progress.
Deadly tidal waves, managed to save himself, and immediately after surviving the onslaught of tsunami waves, organized rescue teams looking for survivors in areas strewn by debris, dead bodies, unstable buildings, and a coastline redefined by the tsunami. Recovering and identifying and documenting bodies of the deceased, organized a respectful and decent mass cremation of the highly decomposed bodies. He assisted in evacuating the injured and shocked survivors including the families and the local inhabitants to the mainland. He undertook these tasks with total disregard to his personal and family safety. He did his initial schooling from Bangalore Military School and masters from Mysore University. A keen sportsman and has a passion for motivating and showing the way ahead to the students who most of the times are ignorant of the career opportunities in the armed forces. Mr. Sudhakar, we are very, very honored to have you amongst us today. Over to you. I think we will just unmute.
Good evening all, and I'm really grateful to Science India Forum UAE for giving me this opportunity to interact with the youngsters and apprise them about the various career opportunities available in the defense sector. I hope I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In the next 20 minutes, I basically intend to speak more about the Indian Air Force because 20 minutes is too less a time for covering Army and Navy. But however, I have forwarded a presentation. To ma'am, Ms. Sudha, and the links are available with madam. And there is a presentation video available on the service selection board also. It is a very, very comprehensive presentation. And also I want to tell the children who are aspiring to join in the defense services, first of all, I should appreciate them that being so far away from the motherland, they still have a beating heart for the country. They're thinking of options in the defense services. It's so heartening to know that they are not forgotten their country and they are chasing money. And also I want to tell the children little on the personal side before going into the brass tacks. I want to tell the children that when they actually choose an career, they should not be under any sort of compulsions or pressure, or like they are just going because they have no other choice. They have to choose a career basically by choice and not by chance. Why? Because when you work, 1/3 of your life is spent in your work, and your work becomes life. And if you're not happy with your work, you can never be happy with your life. And the career options in the defense services are plenty. You name it, and you can work in any profession in the defense services, whether you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, whether you are a HR professional, or whether you are from the commerce background, whether you are a sportsman, whether you are an adventurer, whether you are legally inclined. So what I'm trying to say is the options are so many that you don't have to like keep grouping in the dark. What I like to say to the youngsters is they should have a fire in the belly when they have looking forward for a career in the defense services. Defense services career is totally different. If you're running after money, please don't look for a career in the defense. Not that we are uncomfortable. We are not looked after by the government. After the 6th pay commission, the payment has, the salary of the defense services personnel have increased many-fold, and we are really comfortable. Our children go to the best of schools. We stay, whenever we are traveling, we stay in the best of hotels. We are given privileged travel facilities. So that if you ask for the privileges, I can, the list is so exhaustive, I cannot tell you. And when I say that if you want to serve in the defense services, you have to have the patriotic fervor to serve your motherland. And when the call comes, you are ready. You are not going to say that it's like in the night, it's winter, it is summer and all that. You are on call 24/7, 365 days. And there are icons, there are warriors, there are icons like Captain Batra and so many Khale and everything. they were also kids only. They were just 24, 25, but the responsibility was entrusted on the slender shoulder at a very, very young age. And now, today, they are like, their names are spoken about in every home, like for their bravery, for the selflessness, and for the sacrifice in keeping this motherland sovereign. So now coming back to the main point, what I was saying is basically when you choose for a career in the defense services, don't get carried away by seeing videos or movies. Life is much, much more adventurous, much more, in fact, in many places, it's much more torturous also. You can't imagine the people, the warriors who are guarding the borders, who are in Siachen glaciers and others, where we are complaining about the weather here. They are in -60 Celsius temperature, and still they are at the best. Okay, so now when you have opted for a career in the defense services, be prepared to give selfless service. Now, to your advantage, to give you a better idea as to what are the career options in the defense services. See, there is immense shortage in the officer cadre. I will concentrate only in the officer cadre because I'm sure you children will be opting for officer cadre only more than the other ranks. Okay. So I hope you are able to follow what I'm saying. I hope
Yes.
you're with me. You're
Yes,
with
sir,
me.
Yes, yes, sir.
There is a big shortage in the officer cadre vacancies. See, when there is employment vacancies available in the defense services, it is based on an establishment. Like there are supposed to be some 100 officers. So if there are only 80 officers, then there's a vacancy for 20 officers. But in our country, the vacancies for officers in the defense services runs into thousands. So there is a lot of shortage in the officer cadre. And one thing, the vacancies are not being fulfilled and people are not applying because of lack of awareness. People don't know. Actually, there is lack of awareness. And even families don't go out of the way to put the children in the defense. I can say everybody is proud of a soldier. But when it comes to one's own child, one's own child, parents are very scared to put the children in services. This is the truth. This is the bad truth, naked truth. Anyhow, that is one aspect. So knowing about the various carriers in the defense services will always broaden your perspective about how to go about it. Okay. Then why is defense services so attractive? Because the armed forces operate unique blend of state-of-art technology, infrastructure, and it is always manpower intensive activities. We might have the best state-of-art infrastructures and technology, machines, planes, but if we don't have professional, well-skilled personnel, then all this will come down to naught. We have 5th and 6th generation technology, which actually requires top class leaders to harness our full potential. And I'll also share with you that armed forces today, in this dire times of the pandemic, when everybody is losing their jobs and there is dearth of good jobs, the armed forces offer the biggest career platform in the government. There are vacancies for overall, I'm telling you, overall, there are vacancies for 50 to 60,000 personnel, and they are selected like on a regular basis per year. Armed forces also offer excellent career, especially in this turbulent times, like what I told you just now. Okay, so it's quite, though you might be like giving your best, but you get the best also from the defense services. What are the other attractiveness about the defense services. Imagine you to be a just 16 to 17-year-old child. You know nothing about life. You have only been a school captain, you have been a prefect, and you have been a team leader. Okay. But when you get selected into the defense services, and then when you go for training, in that 1 year training, the basic training, and if you're going for higher jobs like pilot and everything, the training is like for 5 years. You come out as a young dashing leader. So the leadership is from a very young stage. It's not that you have to become a 60 or 70-year-old CEO, then only you can command and lead people. Here, the moment you are about 20, 21, 22-year-old, and you have come out of the academy and you have been posted as a young second lieutenant to a unit, you are actually commanding. You are in the forefront. You are a commander, and you are commanding people. You're leading people. And leading means you have to lead by example, your personal example. If you say someone you have to walk 5 kilometers, you should be able to walk 7 kilometers. That is what the people below you look up to you. Okay. You always, why is defense services attractive in another way is like you always get the organizational support and incentive to maintain good physical and mental health. The defense services have set up organizational setup which opens you up to a very, very active life. Like morning you get up at 5 until evening about 8 o'clock, you're engaged in one or the other activity, from physical fitness exercises to so many other self-improvement programs, that every day is a new opportunity and a new learning thing. Quality of life with decent degree of luxury. As I told you, after the sixth pay commission, life in the defense services has become very, very, very good. Like you have been taken care of. Earlier, people used to travel in unreserved compartments and second class without reservation and all that. But gone are those days. Now, even our men travel by air and they're taken care of. They stay in the best hotels, the best accommodation. Avenues for personal and professional growth. As you grow in the services, you are sent for a lot of courses in the country and abroad also. And that's how you keep growing. You start growing physically, you start growing emotionally, you start growing intellectually, and as a whole there is holistic growth in you. Now, and if you are a very outgoing type person, you are an adventure sports person, or you play some particular games, there are a lot of recreation facilities: swimming, golf, horse riding, tennis, gymming, shooting, and physical training. These are the way of life. It's not that few people are doing it. The majority of a community in a defense setup are practicing this, even the ladies, even the children. Okay, I hope I'm not going too fast. I would now request you to please help me out with the particular slide that I sent on various entries for Air Force.
Yes, sir. Vedji?
There is one slide, the fifth slide, which actually shows various entries for Air Force. And now I just want to come to you. If you're still having the fire in your belly to choose a career in the Air Force, the fifth one, I would request you to just be with me in this particular slide. The fifth, yes, please come to this. Now, what are the various entries available in the Air Force for a aspirant? Okay, so there is this particular entry which is known as the National Defense Academy. Children, when they are 16 and a half year to 19 and a half years, in between this they can apply to the UPSC. Union Public Service Commission, and they should have been in the 12th standard. And in the 12th standard, they should have maths and physics as a subject. These advertisements come in the month of May and June. May or June and in December. This particular entry is only open for males. At the moment, it is only open for male candidates. And I'm telling you, National Defense Academy is considered to be one of the best defense academies in Asia. And it's not so bad when we compare it to in world also. And the child goes there after selection when he is just 17-year-old. He spends about 3.5 years in National Defense Academy, and then he comes out after 3.5 years to go into the Air Force Academy for 1 year for flying training. And after 5.5 years, that gentleman, that boy is just raring to go. You will see a transformation in him from a young lost boy to a focused warrior. Okay, so National Defense Academy is where every bright child, every bright and valiant boy looks forward to serve in to become an officer, because all the chiefs and very high ranking, high brass tack officers actually graduate from National Defense Academy. Okay, now coming to the next entry, we have the CDSC. CDSC also, the application comes in the UPSC, Union Public Service Commission website in June, and now it also comes in the employment news. You have to be between 19 to 23 years. You should have a graduation degree, that is BE or BSc Maths. Okay, and you can apply for the written exam. Once you clear the written exam, I'll come to that. That's in the next slide. You will have to face the service selection board. That I will come to you a little later. Let me cover the various entries. Now coming to the next entry in the Air Force, we have this Air Force Combined Admission Test. This is flying branch for both men and women. We have two types of commission. One is the permanent commission, which you stay on for too long, like about 20 years. And we also have short service commission, which is just for 10 years. So you can you can always opt for this, whether you want short service or permanent commission. Your age should be anything between 19 to 23 before the training starts. And you should be a graduate, technical graduate, with a minimum of 60% marks or equivalent, or any graduate also with 60% marks can apply. This again, CDSC is like you go directly to the Air Force Academy and you train there for flying branch. Okay. There is this Air Force career is divided into 3 branches. One is the flying branch. Another is the technical branch, where you have engineers apply. You can become a technical officer, that is either a mechanical engineer or an electronics engineer. For that, coming to the technical branch, for both men and women, the age has to be 19 to 26. 26 is more for postgraduates. Okay, so you should have a first class BE degree and BTech degree, and then once you pass the written exam, you have to go through the selection board, and once you clear the selection board, then you have to go for the medicals. Once you clear the medicals, then you will wait for the merit list. The merit list is based and released on the number of vacancies. I hope this is little technical, but I just want you not to be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged, because every person who's sincere and a serious seeker can always look into the concerned website and find the necessary information. It is very descriptive and very, very simple. You can understand each and everything once you go into the correct website. Okay. Now coming to the next branch, we have Afcat. Afcat, that is again Air Force Combined Admission Test, but this is only for ground duties. Ground duties means administrative, logistic, and then we have accounts and Met branch, meteorology branches. The age is same, 19 to 26. Any graduate with 60% marks, and then after clearing the written exam, they have to go in for the SSB. Now, please come to the next slide. Please help me to come to the next slide. Thank you. So we have this technical entry again, AEC, that is Aeronautical Engineering Group, that is for children who are between 23 to 27. This is for postgraduates, MA, MSc in first or second division. The advertisements will come in May, June. This will come in the National News and Employment News also. Then we have AFCAT, same, it's 19 to 23. Okay. There is also, if I'm not confusing you, there is also two types of entries. One is known as the direct entry, which I've not discussed with you. What I'm discussing with you is the indirect entry, like you have to go in for the return, then you have to go in for the service selection board selection. But there is something known as direct entry. Direct entry is for children who have done their National Cadet Corps, that is NCC C certificate. NCC C certificate. So if you have got NCC C certificate, then you can go directly for selection. You can go directly, you can go for service selection board. You will have only the practical selection. You will not have the written exam. This is a big incentive given. Okay. Please go to the next slide. As I told you, the selection process to become an officer. First, the online applications comes as I showed you, like in the month of May, June, or in December. Then you have a written examination. Not for all entries means basically direct entry and NCC entry. NCC entry, you don't have to have written exam. Then you have to, if you clear the written exam, then you will go for service selection board exam. Then medical fitness and merit. Now I'll just tell you in service selection board, what are they looking forward for? Can you please come to the next slide? I'm nearly reaching my time, but I'll rush through it. In the service selection board, there are three assessors. It is a full week procedure. It is a full week procedure. Once you are given a call letter to any of the selection board, Air Force has about 6 selection boards spread all over the country. We have one in Mysore, we have one in Dehradun, we have one in Varanasi, one in Gujarat, and one in Bangalore. Okay, Coimbatore also. Okay, 6, 7. Okay, so there you go for a 6-day procedure, but there is a screening on the first reporting. I given a very good video which ma'am will share with the serious contenders, and you can go through it. That will make you much more clearer. Okay, so what are the selection board looking forward from you? They are looking for a well-rounded personality. Well-rounded personality means a holistic personality. There are people, if they had a unhappy childhood, as they grow up also they are unhappy. Okay, but if they have a very well-rounded personality, like they had a very happy childhood, very good grooming, very good schooling, and they are very outgoing, they are like their physical quotient, the intelligence quotient, the emotional quotient, and the spiritual quotient, that is everything together is at an acceptable level. We are looking forward for such candidates. And how are they, how do they come to such a candidate? Is like there is a psychological test, which actually goes on to the second days. Like first, if you're screened in after the intelligence test and the PPDT, which is known as picture perception and discussion test. Okay. So after the first day, if you are lucky, there are more than 100 odd children who come for a selection. So on the first day, if you are lucky to be screened in, then you will go for the psychological test. That is for the whole 4 days process. The whole 5 days process is known as officer-like quality testing. So in that, there will be a thematic perception test, word association test, situation reaction test, self. I don't have time to cover all this. Then there will be an interviewing officer who will be taking your interview, and then there will be a group task officer who will be taking your group test. That is concerning like group discussions and group planning exercise, lecturates, group task. And I'll just give you what it is all about. What they look forward is like leadership qualities in you, cognitive application of knowledge to problem solving. If there is a problem you are faced with, how does your practical intelligence help you to see a solution and come to a solution? Effective, like effective intelligence. They check your effective intelligence, like your emotional balance. Do you empathize? They always look for these qualities in officer. Officer has to be group-minded. He can't be selfish. He has to be selfless. He has to be always thinking about his group. He has to put his own comfort at the last. He has to put the concern about the country first, then his men, and his own comfort comes last. That's what he has to empathize. He has to have compassion. He has to be self-sacrificial in nature. Leadership. He should not get carried away. We see a lot of leaders getting carried away the moment authority is placed on them. And he has to be responsible. He has to take responsibility for his action. And now coming to the next quality, what they look forward is social. He has to be socially adaptable to various situations. Like as an officer, you should be able to move with any caste, creed, class, culture, anyone. You should not have any particular priority or feelings or privileges for any particular class. Okay, and you have to adapt to various the vagaries of weathers. Now you have to be dynamic. You have to be having high quality of determination, initiative, and everything. And you should not give up until you achieve your goals. So basically, there are examples like I told you, Abhinandan Vartaman, Wing Commander Abhinandan. Then we have Captain Vikram Batra. There are so many young leaders who have done us proud and who has become legends in the like they have sacrificed themselves. Okay, please come to the next slide. I'm just going to wind up soon. So they look out for two on the broad aspect. I would say they look out for two qualities. One is your individual qualities and your qualities in respect to a group. Like I think you are able to understand. Okay, please come to the next slide. Okay, now I think I'm just running out of the time. I will like you to revert back. Yeah, I have covered this. They look out for individual qualities and qualities with respect to the group you are interacting with. That is known as group dynamism. Okay, so I think I have covered. So if you have it in you as a youngster, and if you're ready to work hard and you are ready to face challenges, you should not have a word like problem in your dictionary. You should have only a word. Convert all the problems into challenges. And if you have the gut feeling that you can achieve anything in life, I'm sure you are cut for the defense services. I have left my email and mobile number with ma'am. I am always available. I have retired. I have retired from the Air Force about 2 years back after serving the Air Force for 40 years. The Air Force has already served the nation for about 8 odd decades, you know. And in every theater of war, the Air Force has excelled. And it is because of the intervention of the Indian Air Force that the war has been cut in from a long out stretched war. It has just been cut to a very short time, and we have found results, thumping results. Okay, so I am very, very grateful to you all, and I look forward to see you all in the defense services, and I'm sure you can make a mark. Can we please come back? We can leave the presentation. So I request you all to have a strong resolve and just chase your dreams. Just chase your dreams. And you have seen your examples even in the Tokyo Olympics, children who have come from very, very, very meager and poor background has won us international fame. Okay, so everything is possible through the right approach. Now I'm open to the questions if you have any.
Yes, sir, we do have a few questions. Thank you very much for giving us such a good insight about this noble profession. I'm sure our students are very much motivated to join the defense, as much as my colleagues over here. They are also very much happy and interested to know about how lovely it is to serve the nation in every possible way.
And I'll just have to add one thing, the pride of uniform. There's nothing in the world that can compensate that. When you wear the uniform, I don't know, you are walking 6 inches above the ground, you know.
I agree, sir. I agree totally. So the question that we have from our students is, I'm very good with computer. What is my future in the defense sector? Also, I want to know how to get into organizations like RAW or NIA.
Yeah, RAW, actually, they also look for children who excel in computers, who are good at hacking in the positive way, okay, and who are good in cyber crime and everything. And the RAW always advertises in the employment news, and you should always look into the employment news and their website, RAW website. And I'm sure you can make a mark for yourself in the defense also, because in the Air Force, you have this ground duty technical branch for you, which is the electronics branch. And a graduate or a postgraduate in computer science can really excel in the Air Force, because I told you we have state-of-art infrastructure. So you have a very bright future. And I'm telling you, Air Force is much more liberalized. I take this liberty to speak because of my 40 years of service than Army and Navy. If you have an individualistic bend of mind, Air Force is the place for you, because we always brand the Air Force as civilians in uniform. Our superiors are very supportive. Our superiors are very supportive if you want to study or if you want to make a mark for yourself. No one will suppress you. No one will suppress you.
Absolutely, sir. Hats off to you and so many of you. Like, we are safe only because of people like you around us. So the next question is, will even a slight amount of fear stand as a barrier in the path of our career in defense sector?
Fear, let me tell you, please, we all are victims of fear. There is nobody on this earth who doesn't. You will be shocked that Amitabh Bachchan also suffers nervousness when he goes on to stage, even till this day. But who is a winner? A winner is one who never quits, and a quitter never wins. The only way to overcome fear is to do what you fear. If you fear heights, please climb to 1 feet. Then please climb to 2 feet. Then please climb to 3 feet, 6 feet, 30 feet, 300 feet. You have seen that movie, Zindagi Nahi Milega Dobara, something, and the gentleman is fearful for. All three had different fears. One, phobia about water, but all three of them are able to overcome the fear. How? By doing it. So don't be running away from fear. Face fear just in front and just defeat fear and see the happiness. 90% of us suffer from stage fright, but if you are lucky to overcome stage fright, you will never leave the mic in your life.
True. And so, can commerce-related students get into defense sector?
I'm sorry. It is a very good question. I have not answered the question fully. The training will help you to overcome fear. I can tell you the training in the defense will help you to overcome fear.
Absolutely, sir. So, there's a question from a student. Can commerce-related students get into defense sector?
100%, 200%. We have a branch known as ground duties non-technical. And this particular branch is basically for administrative branch and for logistic branch and for accounts branch. And you can really do well. Accounts officers are respected in the Air Force. All auditors are respected in the organization.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sudhakarji. That was really, really a very good insight. SIF team wholeheartedly thanks you for joining us and giving so much of insight to our students.
Let me say it was a privilege and God bless. And I wish each and every child, see, when we, just last 1 minute, because I'm so overwhelmed by the moment. During our time, like when we were young, there were no choices. There were no choices. And because of that, we all have become insecure. We are parents. I also have very grown-up children. We are very insecure and we push the children to catch anything they get. It should not be like that, children. Choose the career of your liking and the choices are plenty. And you will excel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sudhakarji, for your kind wishes. So students, like we mentioned in our sessions, you are going to have a quiz this time also at the end of the session, towards the end of the session. And also whatever questions you have for our speakers, kindly put it in, post your questions here. You can put it over there. Okay. So I hope you have really got motivated by Mr. Sudhakar and complimenting with him. Shri Sudhaji has selected our speakers so well for the day. We have Mr. Surya with us over here. Welcome, Mr. Surya. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you.
I'll just give a small intro to our students so that they know more about you.
Sure,
a
definitely.
Quick one. So Mr. Surya is a young entrepreneur from a business-based family based out of Dubai. He's Dubai bred and has made UAE his home for the last 30 years. A graduate of biotechnology from BITS Pilani, Dubai, and postgraduate from University of Bradford, UK. He worked as a life science application specialist for Leica Microsystems for a couple of years after his master's degree. He then stepped into the family business by joining his father and managing the Tamil language radio station, Tamil 89.4 FM. After spending a couple of years in media, he then ventured into the tech and education industry. As fast-paced technological innovations mean that most of us will soon share our workplaces with AI beings and bots. So how can children stay ahead of the curve? That's what we are looking forward to hear from Mr. Surya. So Mr. Surya, along with Mr. Venkat and Mr. Rex, started an initiative to address this issue. Future Intelligence, that's the name of his company, was created to make the future generation future ready. So Future Intelligence provides vital skills that the children need to succeed in the workplace, starting with electronics, robotics, and artificial intelligence. FI plans to provide a platform for the future generation to engage and create innovations by using technology, cognitive skills, design thinking principles, and creativity. Thank you, Mr. Surya, for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. Firstly, I mean, I was listening to the previous talk, and that was amazing. I mean, very inspirational. I mean, you know, when I'm Dubai bred, so as ma'am has given my introduction, so I was graduate from DPS Dubai. We had career fairs, but you know, not to this extent. You know, like with so much of variety. This is the first time I'm also listening to an Air Force veteran, and it was great to hear his insights and how to enter the Air Force and the Army. So that was great. And so thank you Science India Forum for having me, and thank you students. It's great to see you all here. It would have been much better if we were all interacting live. I don't know. I think we all forgot how to interact live. Always constantly in the digital front, but that's how it is because we have to be safe, and the health and safety is our top priority at the moment. So with that, let's get on with the session. So can I share my screen for the presentation?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Okay, I got it activated. Yeah, hope all of you can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I guess since ma'am had wonderfully given me a amazing intro, so I don't need to go over talk about myself. But yeah, so I'm currently heading Future Intelligence. I'll be talking more about it in the next couple of slides. And for today's talk is mainly on artificial intelligence and robotics. So that's going to be the highlight of this session. And so we began Future Intelligence in the middle of 2019 with the idea of educating children, students like you all, with the skills required in the future. So, to make you all future ready. And today I will try my best to give you all a glimpse in the skills of the future, focusing more on robotics and AI, as I said. And also, please bear with me that I am not an expert in AI and robotics, but I made this presentation and we have a team. Oh, hope everyone's on mute. If you have any questions, you can put it on the chat, please. Thank you. Yeah, so as I was saying, so we have a team of professionals and industry experts who take care of the courses and the skills development. So with the help of them, I created this presentation. I'm just trying to share it, the knowledge and the ideas and the thoughts with you. So if you have any questions, very direct towards AI and robotics, you can share it with me. I'll try my best to answer. If not, then I'll get in touch with the SIF team to get an answer in the next couple of days, right? Okay. So this is our vision and mission, and trying to get all of you, the students of the world, future ready. So in the next 10 to 15 years, there's a lot of technological transformations that's going to happen, and you guys need to get the vital skills, in order to face the new challenges, the new issues, the new problems. It's not just technology wise, but there are a lot more skills than what we know, right? So I have a short video that is going to showcase what we are as Future Intelligence, what we've done so far, and then we'll move on to the session topic, right? Let me just open. Hope you guys saw that video. Was it clear?
Yes.
Did you guys were able to see it, right? Okay, perfect. Okay, so yeah, in that video, you would have come across a couple of frames where, it was kind of depicting different skills. So that's what I've just repeated here in this slide. So, these are some of the skills, that many research articles, especially one which we, most frequently refer to is a research paper by Microsoft, where they were talking about the class of 2030, and they were highlighting different skills that the students of 2030, when they reach that year, what kind of skills will be needed. What are the classroom will be looking like, what are the problems these students will be facing. And in terms of the skill sets, this is the entire skill set. So you have your technical skills, high level cognitive skills, and social emotional skills, right? Looking at it, I think your technical and high level cognitive seems to be, fairly normal. It looks like your everyday jargon. But your social and emotional skills, it looks as if it's your human character, right? But that's actually some of the skills that majority of us have not developed, or have it subpar. So we need to make it more efficient, and like communication and your responsibility, social awareness, those kind of skills are very prevalent nowadays. And over the next few years, or the next 10 to 15 years, it has to be developed, and it will be more in use in that period, right? So in our in FI, we have three divisions: the academy, the outreach, and the club. So all our courses are kind of curated towards different aspects. So for the academy, we have set of courses where we do long term and short term courses, and it's for now it's completely online, but hopefully in the next couple of months we will go offline in person classes. And for schools, we do customized courses, and we have a couple of schools in our roster to where we teach during the school periods. And finally, we have a club, which I will talk about towards the end of the session. So that's an online social media platform where all of you can come together. Let's talk about that a bit later. Okay, so that's basically what in a very rapid pace. I'm kind of explaining about future intelligence, but now move on to the main agenda is robotics and artificial intelligence. All right. So today, so we're going to I'm going to talk about the basics of each concept. What is robotics and what is artificial intelligence? And then also highlight on where the applications being used currently, how are the future trends for these technologies, and the career prospects in these two fields. All right, so let's start with robotics. So what is robotics, right? So robotics is kind of a midpoint between in science, engineering, and technology. The kind of produces machines called robots. So robotics is the field, and the byproduct of robotics is robots. So robots in the early days, they were created or they were built to perform mundane tasks, or repetitive tasks. So like if you look at the application side, like if you go to the factory or a manufacturing setup, there will be a robot will just tighten screws. So that is like repetitive tasks. So they were programmed the robot, and that's what it does. So that is the field of robotics. And when you look at the construct of a robot, it has three main parts. Robots consist of some sort of a mechanical construction, a mechanical aspect, so that it helps to complete the task in an environment which is it's designed for. The second thing it needs is an electronic component, so that to control the mechanical and the machinery, and to power the parts of a robot, using electrical current or a battery. And finally, it needs some information. So it needs to be fed in data as an input, so that it can give out a desired output. So that's where your programming comes into the picture. So you need to code certain set of instructions into the robot, so that it performs some operations or it performs some kind of an output, and it based on a specific task, right? So this is where the three parts of a robot is made of: your mechanical, your electrical, and your coding, your computer programming. Okay. So now, what makes a robot a robot? So we use this term very loosely. Like when someone is acting mechanically, we say, "I know, are you a robot?" If that person is repeating certain commands or certain things, certain actions, we directly go and name that person a robot, right? So what makes a robot a robot? Okay. So a key feature of robots is that they interact with the world, making changes to the world through their actions and responding to events in the world. So robots perform useful tasks, extend the capabilities of humans, and reduce our risks. So when operating in hazardous environment, and a typical robot, generally they perceive what the environment is. So they have a lot of sensors fixed into them, which kind of senses and understands what each environment is, based on whether they're going into a very cold climate or a hot climate, or they are on different surfaces, and they reason with events. So they have, you guys would have learned kind of a flow chart diagram. So they have a lot of reasoning structures. So if this, then you perform this. If not, you perform the other action. So they have a lot of reasoning structures inbuilt with them. And all of this forms in a larger algorithm and a computer program. So everything is planned, and they follow this set of instructions and this kind of plan. And then the mechanical parts, or the your hands or your legs of a robot, is being moved by the instructors. So by actuators, they are enabled. So this is what makes a robot a robot. So it's continuous steps. It keeps on going until you ask it to stop, right? So now, looking at where the robots are being used, in the current age. So there are a lot of millions of applications being used. Firstly, as I said, automation. So like in your car manufacturing and your any factory bed. So there's a lot of automation there. But nowadays, I think you would have seen either one of them or both. How many of you have seen both?
I have seen it.
You have seen both? I think you would have visited Jitex, and they would have seen Sophia and Pepper Robot, right? So Pepper is being used now everywhere in Dubai. You go to DHA, you go to RT, you go to any government organization in Dubai, you will find Pepper Robot right in front, at the reception. So they're amazing, a piece of machinery where it's created by software. And what they do is basically they're kind of an informative assistant. So they're programmed to give you certain information before you go on to the next step. So if you think some of your doubts, or if you have a concern can be solved by Pepper, then you can use the screen in front of Pepper, and it kind of navigates you and helps you out with your problem. And on the right, you have Sophia, which is a higher version. But if some of you have watched certain videos or interacted with Sophia, you would have noticed that the most of the responses are pre-programmed. So the person who's next to Sophia kind of preempts the question to the audience. Like like when I went to Jitex, Sophia was there. So they asked us to ask Sophia how good is Jitex, and what is the most interesting thing at Jitex. So the answer was already pre-programmed, and it was kind of repeating about, I think it had about 5 or 6 answers, and we're just cycling through them. But this is to the extent we are at the moment. It does not have its own conscious, but hopefully in the near future we can develop it a bit more, but not more than that. We got to question iRobot style what robots will do in the future, right? So next application currently is these amazing machines developed by Boston Dynamics, and they are robust and they can do almost anything. So the one on the left is called Spot, and it's like your pet. It's like your, a pet dog or pet robot. And this was, Boston initially was contracted to make robots and machinery for the defense department in the US. But after that, they started, using that technology and that knowledge and that experience to create commercially available robots. So Spot is commercially available. Generally, industries where humans cannot go to a particular environment, they use Spot to reach that place. For example, scientific research companies where they are researching, really intense environments. Like, there's a volcano in Indonesia, and they want to understand the surface or the rocks at the crater. So if a human goes there, it's a high risk. So they can send Spot, they can program Spot to navigate the terrain, pick up samples, and come back safely. So similarly, on the right, I'm not sure of the name of that robot, but that's a bit more advanced. It has limbs like a human being, and it can do various complex maneuvers. And I think in the defense they used it to diffuse bombs and certain very intense what do you say, defense experiments. So that's by Boston Dynamics. You guys should watch their YouTube channel. They're just amazing. The things they do with these machines are amazing, epic. So finally is, as I said, automation. So car manufacturing is one major industry. But another thing which is increasingly becoming more popular and the biggest logistics company at the moment is Amazon. And if you look at Amazon's warehouse, it's absolutely no human beings over there. It's just these rovers or these robots that that can pick up products and all their packages, and then they just zoom across the warehouse from the location, and then they just deliver them across the warehouse. So that's how they work, and those guys are doing great stuff in the warehouse using these rovers. So the logistics has improved a lot using robots, and it has automated a lot of the tasks which human beings were slow in. Because if you're now in the warehouse, you need to pick up heavy stuff and move it. So maybe more than 10, 15 kilos, you need two human beings then. But now just one robot can do the task and safely deliver it across to the site. Right. So that's about the the major applications. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more applications in terms of for robotics, but I just want to highlight some of the major ones and the important ones that are being used right now. And now I just want to show you some of the future of robotics. So a true collaboration between man and machine will be the best application for a robot. This is what I feel. So where tasks like these the things which you do right now, but those kind of involve artificial intelligence, but also has a robotic element to it. So in terms of cooking and cleaning your home and your space, so that can be easily done by a robot. I think most of you know what a Roomba is. So that is also a small robot which is kind of cleaning your living room and your bedroom, which is already there, but that's also limited to its a very simple task. But imagine you have something like Spot, or another one developed by Boston Dynamics, where it kind of senses what the general idea of the room is, and if you kind of change the location of a particular chair or a table, it knows the right place. It goes and keeps the things at its place, cleans up the garbage, washes the dishes, and cooks for you. What more do you need? And another application of a robot is currently used in certain cases, in certain hospitals, but not to a wide extent, where they perform surgery. But a lot of research is going on over there, and even remote surgery is happening, where that was being experimented during this COVID time, where I saw a video by a doctor, I think doing a kidney, something to do with a kidney surgery, where he was somewhere in the UK, and the robot and the patient was somewhere in the US, and he was remotely operating the tools and the robot, and it was performing the surgery. I don't know who signed up for that, to be operated like that, but it's amazing effort, and what they did was just too good. And another application we have is, in on by the police, where crime fighting and monitoring of behavior and surveillance drones are being used. Some countries and cities in the world are using it, but more in the future will be required. And also for natural disasters, so where they can pinpoint. I think recently in one of the natural disasters, a drone was used to find out where humans were, kind of buried under sand and other debris. So they can easily, they were using a heat sensor, so to find heat signature in that area. So yeah, so these are some of the future, ideas, and which is already being in development stage and in research stage. So let's hope for a great future in robotics. Now, in order to get into the robotics field, and how do you get close to it, there are a couple of careers that you can venture into. These are some of the titles that I've mentioned here, like your robotics perception and navigation. So like I spoke about Spot or even the drone. So they need to understand the terrain, they need to understand what they are traveling across, and also perception in terms of, okay, now this like you guys would have seen certain artificial intelligence applications, but this is more of a robotics where it is more of mechanical movements. So it is more of the feet or the limbs of the robot is going across the surface, say like in the Mars rover. So they're using a lot of navigation specialists to understand the terrain of Mars and to navigate the rover in Mars. Then of course you need your hardware engineer to build the robot and to build the machine, and then you need a design engineer to design it specifically for a particular task or an experiment. And then your software developers, there is never an end to software development, so you need them always, because your machine learning, your data scientists, everything is based on software and your programming. And finally research scientists, because like as I showed in the previous slide, there's a lot of ideas coming up, and everything cannot be implemented by companies or organizations offhand, because it needs to be researched first in how to develop this kind of an idea into a proper physical model. So you need scientists to work at the back to understand different applications and to build, at least create a prototype for companies to take it forward. Right. So in order to start, I'm sure, I think some of you guys would have started somewhere in terms of robotics. You guys would have heard of Arduino boards and electronics and those kind of things. Maybe if you have started, that's great. I'm going to say the same thing in the next. But if you have not started, if you're really interested in robotics and AI, the first step is you need to be curious and you need to explore. Anything you see online, in TV, on real life, you need to understand what's behind it, what's inside it, how does it work, why is it doing this particular thing in this particular way. So you need to ask as many questions as possible. The next thing is, okay, you've chosen robotics as one of your interests. Okay, then you need to understand the behind the scenes, that is the electronics of it. So because everything is being connected using wires and cables and is programmed using code. So you need to understand the electronics, you need to understand how it's being controlled, what is the brain behind the robot. So that's the Arduino in most of the cases, but you have much more advanced microcontrollers. So you can start off with Arduino. You can understand how do you use an Arduino microcontroller, and you can create. There are thousands of miniature robots, or even normal size robots that you can create just with an Arduino. Once you do that, then you go on to the mechanical construct of a robot. So once you've done with the programming side and the microcontroller side, then you can program. You can start to build maybe an arm or a leg, or run a motor for a car. and then you link these two, right? So you link it with code. So now that code is with Python. Python is one of the greatest programming languages right now in use. Whether it's machine learning, robotics, or artificial intelligence, Python is the way to go, right? So that is with robotics at the moment. I can see a lot of questions coming in. I think I will take these questions towards the end, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah, sure. So now let's move on to artificial intelligence. Okay. So if you have questions, keep it coming on the chat. We'll have a, take a dab at it later. Okay. So, right. So now let's move on to artificial intelligence. Okay. Before I show this slide, okay, since you've all seen it, can anyone should tell me what is intelligence?
Having information ready.
Having information ready. Okay, that's one of it. See, now if you look at the first sentence, it says artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence. So it's basically a machine which is mimicking human intelligence. But what exactly is human intelligence? There are a couple of...
The ability to do a work perfectly.
Sorry?
The ability to do a work perfectly.
Knowledge.
Like having certain, what do you say, like certain logic and all those kinds of things. Like if someone is put into a certain situation, how will they react to it? Like, for example, a human is in a, what do you say, a financially down kind of situation. So what will they try to do? Will they just sit down like nothing has happened, or will they try to do something to overcome that situation?
Correct. Perfect. Yeah. You were perfect there. All of you give, all the different aspects of human intelligence. So there are totally, I'll just, list out the keywords that define human intelligence. The first one is learning, the ability to learn. So in terms of machines, we have to feed in the data. So then it learns and then it gives an output. Okay. So human intelligence, we can learn, we can reason. So that's what you said by the logic. And then we can solve problems. So that's your third step. Finally, your perception. So the last guy said where you understand the situation, then you reason with your logic, and then you try to solve the problem. And then finally is your language. So where you can communicate with other beings. So these are the different aspects which make us human, which is what is human intelligence. So if a machine can mimic these qualities, it is considered to be artificial intelligent. So basically, machines that behave like humans are artificial intelligent machines, right? So that's what artificial intelligence is. So so looking at the qualities as I listed out, there are different fields in artificial intelligence which kind of highlight each of these qualities. Okay, so because artificial intelligence is such a huge and vast topic, right now we're just touching the surface. Even in the real world is what I'm saying. Because even though there are thousands of people, millions of people working on artificial intelligence, softwares and programs and a lot of models they're building, but the extent to which it can go is still yet to be known, right? So there are a lot of fields of study in artificial intelligence. So I've categorized a few of them. Let's have a look at it right now. Okay, so on the right you have your human intelligence or natural intelligence, and on the left you have artificial intelligence. Okay, so I'm going to list out basically the actions of humans and how it's being used, and what is the fields for the artificial intelligence for each of them. Okay, so first we can see is, as I said, learning. The next we have your vision. Humans can see, humans can speak, humans can have a conversation, and finally humans can plan and move, right? So these are basically the qualities that make us human, right? We can learn, we can see, we can speak, we can have a conversation, and we can plan and move. So now against each of these qualities, let's look at the fields. Okay, So learning which is machine learning. So this involves learning from experience, right? So machine learning is nothing less than feeding good data. So that's where, you need to feed the machine with good data so that it understands what each data element is, and it understands, okay, this is a cat and this is a dog. Okay, so that's where it does a lot of models. You create a machine learning model. Okay, so that's your learning process. The next is your computer vision. So this deals with how to make the machine see and perceive the environment, right? So a lot of your self-driving cars and your Teslas and all those applications right now, they use a lot of computer vision applications, right? So that's where your completely your detection and everything. I'll show a video of that in a while. The next field is your speech processing. So this deals with how we speak and we hear. So in terms of your artificial intelligence machine, so it needs to have like we spoke about sensors, robots. So similarly, it needs to understand what we are talking. It needs to listen, and it needs to also give out the output in a manner. So that is coming next, which is your natural language processing. So this kind of deals with your how you have a natural conversation with by comprehending the data and the inputs received, and having a seamless conversation. So in terms, if you look at a machine perspective or an artificial intelligence perspective, so this is where machines talk to each other. So where you have your internet of things coming into place, where one machine talks to another machine just purely with data and data points and a lot of input and output between them. And finally, we have what we spoke earlier, robotics, because the first four which we saw, your machine learning, computer vision, speech processing, and NLP, are all of them can be done digitally. Everything is virtually. But if you come into physical space, then you need to build robots. So you can plan a lot of things virtually, but if you want something to move and perform a particular task or perform a set of goals, then you need to build a robot. So that you're planning and moving as a human is your robotics in the artificial intelligence space. Right. So this is a very interesting, overview of the qualities of human and artificial intelligence. So this is very important when you're going forward in your artificial intelligence journey. And so now next we look at the usages of or the applications of artificial intelligence. There are, look at this slide. It's like tons and tons of application. I tried my best to kind of put some of them here, but there are still thousands more because currently, almost every aspect of our lives is affected by AI. Right from your healthcare to your retail and e-commerce, banking and financial services, logistics like your Amazon, and entertainment and gaming. Everything is using AI. If you the minute you open your phone, AI is being implemented there, and everything is taken forward. So as AI is evolving to the next level, it is increasingly taking the lead as the single most significant driving force for the technology transformation. So we are part of that age, where machines are starting to understand and anticipate what users want or likely to do in the future, which is kind of scary because before you can even think of what you want to do next, the AI is kind of prompting you, so like your auto text feature on WhatsApp. So it has enabled endless possibilities, and we've seen to date or could speculate for the future what are the broader capabilities of AI, right? So these are it's endless, endless possibilities, right? So apart from this, I just want to highlight some complex applications of AI. So these are some of the places where AI is being used extensively, like your manufacturing robots, your self-driving cars, your smart assistants like Siri or Cortana, and your healthcare management. So where like if you've seen your Apple Watches, where it can it can predict when you're going to fall, or it can detect your difference in your heartbeats and your stress levels, and can intimate your doctor or your healthcare provider to provide assistance as soon as possible. Your disease mapping. So this was majorly done and is currently being employed for COVID. So it's kind of predicting where, okay, the next wave is going to be, what is the extent of the next wave, how fast the variants are being developed. So all that is being continuously being mapped. A lot of data is being fed into every single second. And also your financial side. So you have a lot of your, your cryptocurrencies and different kinds of currencies, a lot of transactions being happening all over the world. So everything is being fed into an AI system or AI model. So it understands all of this data, and it can predict and help us in the future. Right. So other applications are your virtual travel booking agent for your tourism, social media. Yes, that's there. So it is feeding you what you want to watch next. So that's your social media monitoring. Inter-team chat, your conversational marketing, your chatbots, and your NLP tools, right? So these are some of the complex applications. So one of it is here is the lane assistance and self-driving. So this one is, it's already there out because you have Teslas and so many other self-driving cars in the market. And they are so advanced, I think Tesla has like some 15 or 20 odd cameras around the car, which is continuously giving a lot of sensors, a lot of signals throughout the system. It's going into the brain, and it's kind of detecting what is the lane, the speed of the other cars, the pedestrians, the signs, the signals, everything is being fed. And it's, keeping you safe and trying to reach the destination. Another application here is on computer vision. Let me just, this is a YouTube video. So this was the first one is for the COVID period, where in particular cities they were using to see if the public is maintaining social distance. And they were also trying to detect, traffic or accidents by using your transport cameras. So all of this, you can see the car, it's being detected, what kind of a car, what speed is it, what is the coordinate of each car. So this is done by a drone, but you also have fixed cameras all around the city. And look at this. This is like tons of data. I think this is taken in Dubai or something. So this, you can see it's showing a person. It is able to distinguish between a person, a car, a moving person, a person on a cycle. And here you can see also, right now this is being used by RTA as well. I think you'll get there is an application which will roll out soon, where you can find out your parking spot. Where is the next free parking spot if you're going in a particular neighborhood? Right. So these are some of the computer vision applications. And so now let's move on to the future of AI. So the possibilities are endless. As we said, there are